So this year marks the 35th anniversary for The Legend of Zelda, and I think we were hoping for a lot from this celebration, specifically on the game side of things. Turns out we got a remaster of Skyward Sword, which did make it a lot better, I would say, with button controls, and we also got a Game & Watch, which is similar to what we did with Mario, where we got a Mario Game & Watch. We're gonna be checking this one out here today. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. So first, let's take a look at the box itself. This is currently retailing at $49.99. I picked this one up at Best Buy, and it was pretty straightforward to get. Like, it wasn't sold out or anything. I just kind of walked in, took it off the shelf, and paid for it. So it wasn't some like massive event. And now that I think about it, I still see those Mario Game & Watches in stock at most places, so I don't know if these are just like not selling well or what the deal is here, but if you're someone who enjoys collecting different items for the Legend of Zelda series, this is certainly one that you'll at least be able to pick up without having to fight scalpers off online. But we can see right on the front here, big text, color screen, Game & Watch, The Legend of Zelda. We have the original NES Legend of Zelda title screen here, and that is part of like the front plastic, because you can see it kind of shifting around a bit there. On the back, we have all the information about the different games that are on this Game & Watch. Remember, we have 3 different games, and that being The Legend of Zelda, Adventure of Link, Link's Awakening, as well as Vermin, which is using, I guess, just Link in place of the typical character, Playtime Clock, and Playtime Timer. So the big 3 games, obviously, that people are gonna check out are here, and these are just kind of like nice bonuses that they've added in, with technically this being like an original Game & Watch game. Let's go ahead and take it out of the plastic, and I do like how, because they did this with the Mario one as well, where they just have it all decorated around the edges here. So if you take this out, it just has this really nice gold look to it. But if you want to dress it up a bit, you can put it in the plastic sleeve here. It also have a nice little message here. It says special thanks to you with the Link Vermin character there. So we'll slide this open. Looks like we have some paperwork with instructions, and then we have the Game & Watch itself, as well as, is it instructions for how to set this up? Oh, this is like a little stand. Looks like you just sort of fold these up, this part out, and then it kind of stands up just like that, I guess, for a nice little display. It has a Triforce logo, so you can just put your Game & Watch there. Who says Labo's dead? Anyway, let's get a look at the Game & Watch itself. I do like this little Triforce logo here, nice bright green. And then on the other side, we have the nice gold around it with kind of the green accents around the buttons. That's very nice looking. Let's go ahead and turn this guy on. Ooh, I like the little tone there, time button. All right, we'll go ahead and press that. So I would have to set the time, obviously. This looks like sort of a clock screen that they have set up. Let me just go to game, there we go. So we have our 3 main games that people will be playing. Obviously, you're gonna pick most likely between the original Legend of Zelda, Adventure of Link, or Link's Awakening. Then you also have, like I said, Vermin and Timer there. Let's just jump in to the original. Speakers are okay. Let me see if we have like a volume on this. Here's our volume and brightness. I just press pause and set, and that'll bring that up, so I can turn it all the way up. I'm gonna turn it probably about here. Then there are brightness settings, which the screen does look good. Like, it's very legible. Kind of gives me that thought of what we have with like the Game Boy Micro, where the screen, at first glance, very small, but everything is easy to read despite that. I'm gonna turn it up right about here since I have so much light going on in the room. We also have our battery indicator at the top here. Looks like I'm about half charge currently. And we do have on the side our USB Type-C charging. It does come with a USB Type-C cable as well. Glad to see that Nintendo is, I mean, pretty much all in with that, right? Like, I think at this point, I'm done with any other kind of USB right now. USB-C is certainly the way to go. All right, so I just set up a game very quickly. And I mean, the audio is coming through great. The picture looks good. Colors are popping off the screen. I mean, this looks pretty nice. Like, I know this is mostly a collector's item, and there's gonna be a lot of people who probably already own these games, especially if you're a big Zelda fan. But the idea of just having, I guess, a Game & Watch with these different games on it is fun in itself, but it is pretty functional. Like, the D-pad's good. It feels very much like an original NES D-pad, which obviously that's what they're going for here with the design of it. A and B, kind of on the smushy side. These buttons are like rubberized, similar to start and select. So I don't know if they're gonna be the most responsive button like what you'd have on an NES controller, but considering this is more of a novelty item that you would pick up, it's not bad. It's also worth mentioning that these games, you can switch between English or the Japanese version of the game as well, which that's kind of cool to see that. Let's go ahead and get into Link's Awakening. Oh, that's kind of a shame. This is not the color version. That's weird. You figure they would do like the color version of Link's Awakening? Huh. So when we had Link's Awakening came out back in the day, it came out as an original Game Boy game, but then they also brought it out to take advantage of like the Game Boy Color. So they had like one that just had a bigger color palette to take advantage of that newer system from Nintendo. So it's weird that they decided to go with like the original Link's Awakening when this is a full color screen. I mean, it still looks fine. It just probably could look better. It's still a great game too, by the way. I mean, I know we have Link's Awakening, like the remake on the Switch, but something about just the classic Link's Awakening is awesome to see. I don't know, maybe we will get Game Boy on the Switch at some point, and that's when they throw in like the color version of this. It's just interesting that in a device that's not gonna be updated in the future for a color version of this, that they decided to go with the original one. So now we're just checking out Vermin. It's a pretty basic and standard game. A lot of these Game & Watch games were similar to Tiger Handheld, for example. They did have a Game & Watch for The Legend of Zelda, and I guess they didn't go with that because it's a dual screen, so it does kind of mimic the DS, or I guess the DS mimicked that, considering it was out way before the DS. But that would have been something cool to see. It's just, they probably weren't gonna go that far with this whole thing, considering they're really just using the same kind of shell that they had with Mario when they did that anniversary. Just obviously dressed up like The Legend of Zelda. This also has a similar thing to what we saw with the Mario handheld, where if you jump back and forth between them, it will pretty much do a save state of that game. So you can see me just jump in between the original Legend of Zelda right into Link's Awakening. You can also go here, you can put it into sleep mode very quickly, take it out of sleep mode, and it'll have you thrown right back into the game, and you can jump between them. So it's also nice to be able to just kind of jump in and out of games on a handheld like this. So now that we've looked around the system and tried it out, we're gonna go ahead and just open it up. I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking. Really nothing different than the Mario Game & Watch that we did last year, but we're here, so we might as well open it up. All right, so with the back off, yep, as expected, looks very similar to that Mario one, except there's a lot of emphasis placed on this Triforce down here. We actually have a nice little like plastic molding of it here. Huh. That looks like it's almost like connected to the backlight, not like through like circuitry or anything, but just like touching it. Maybe to actually have light go to it. Hold on, let me turn this back on. I'm just curious right now if that is the case. I haven't unplugged the battery now. So this, oh yeah, look at that. I mean, that's kind of a cool touch. So that part of the plastic inside is kind of just routing light from the backlight of the screen that's obviously projected on the other side, and just sort of pushing it through to this hollowed out part of the plastic so that you get like an illuminated Triforce. That's kind of neat. I mean, you can see here we have light from that backlight kind of bleeding through. I mean, it's a pretty cool little touch for something like this. And with my experience taking apart that Mario Game & Watch, everything I'm seeing right here is pretty much it. There's really no point in taking out the board because there's not much else there. We have our main chip here, our speaker, and then our battery that is basically out of a Joy-Con and placed in here. It's the same 525 milliamp hour battery. It should be all right in terms of battery life. And to be honest, this chip doesn't have to be very powerful. It's just playing some NES and Game Boy ROMs. And from what I remember with that Mario Game & Watch, there wasn't a lot of storage on board either, so we haven't really seen a lot of people do much else with that Game & Watch when it comes to modding it or anything, just because there's really no reason to. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for the Legend of Zelda Game & Watch. I think it's a fun way to celebrate the 35th anniversary, and there are some interesting little touches they did with the illuminated Triforce and even making a stand out of what would otherwise just be trash you would throw away. I was hoping for a bit more from the 35th anniversary, and I guess more could happen as we start out 2022. This, certainly a fun thing to buy if you're a collector for the Zelda series. I don't know if it's the best way to experience really any of these games, but if you're looking to buy something for someone you know is a fan of The Legend of Zelda, this is a good way to go as a nice gift. Or if you just want to add it to your collection, also works there, as Nintendo obviously had that in mind where you would be displaying it. But let me know what you guys think about this Game & Watch. I wonder what they will do next, considering they did Mario, now they did Zelda, maybe Donkey Kong is coming up in the future here. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.